Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Penultimate Conquest podcast, where we talk about everything to do with the video games industry. My name is Ruben, and today my co-hosts are Cameron Hawkins. Your mic is a little off, Cam. Sorry.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Better.
Cool. How's it going?
It's going good. How about you?
All right. I just got in my Xbox pre-orders officially, so I'm happy about that.
Good.
But outside that's been a pretty solid day, despite it being a little hectic.
Cool. Which one did you go for?
I actually pre-ordered both of them.
Okay. Whoa. All
Yeah.
right.
Which, if you want to discuss as to why that is later, feel free.
Okay.
But
all right. I also have Ryan with me.
Hey.
Ryan, were you able to secure one?
I was able to get an X, yeah. Not want an X, I
good.
wanted yes, but got my X.
Okay. And we have the Canadian heartthrob, Vincent.
Yo, shout out to my House Hippo fans.
Vincent, what about you? Were you able to secure one or not?
I'm sitting out next gen this fall, so it's been a blast to see people lose their minds. I'm just off to the side.
Okay. I was not looking to secure one, but I ended up securing a Series X. I figured I was just gonna do all access probably when Halo came out, but I figured why not? Let's give it a try, and boom, I was able to get it from Amazon. So I felt pretty good today. I got somebody came up to me today and was like, "Hey, I hear you're the guy looking that can secure PS5 pre-orders," and I was like, "Ugh, I don't know if that's true at all." He was like, "I'm looking to find one, and I'll pay double," and I was like, "Huh,
crazy dog."
I just happen to have an extra pre-order from Amazon, just in case my GameStop pre-order had fallen through. So I'm getting the PS5 for free, guys, which is pretty sick. It's pretty sick. Let's start off with the main topic today is going to be the Bethesda Microsoft deal, but let's dive into why. Cameron, why did you get both?
So I got both personally is because first I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get the Series X for sure. I have my Project Scorpio, like Xbox One X and everything like that. I love Xbox. Xbox is like the primary place where I like to play my games, even though I have like a plenty good gaming PC, a Switch, PS4, all that stuff. Xbox is like kind of just where I like to play my games primarily. And I have a 4K TV and everything to get those benefits. But then I also stream, so I got the S primarily because I stream. So it'd just be like nice that I don't have to like move my Xbox to and from one room. And also my fiance likes to play on the Xbox as well. So if like whenever I'm streaming and she wants to play something on the Xbox, I don't have to tell her like, oh, I'm using it because I'm streaming. Whichever one, or if I'm like, playing on the TV and she wants to play on the Xbox, she can play the one that's hooked up to the PC. Just getting that access, and for only $300 extra, like I don't know, I think if it was any more than that, I don't think I would get both straight away. But I don't know, for that 300 price tag, like it was too appealing not to take advantage of it.
Well, okay then. That makes sense. You said you stream. Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, I stream on twitch.tv/the Cinephile Guy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I basically had said, yeah, like I said, I wasn't looking to secure one, but I got lucky, and I figured, why the fuck not, All right, Brian, do you have something to say about your pre-order?
I as someone who pre-ordered both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, I don't know which one was worse. That's my biggest takeaway from this is
that's what I was gonna say.
Is the random having to go for the run worse, or is everybody knowing it, so everybody disappointed at one source.
Yeah.
Like I got lucky, and I was the third person at my GameStop. They had 3 X's and 1 at Series S.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. And there was 15 people
rough.
online when door opened.
Yeah, I had a
I'm just
similar
like,
experience.
oh lordy.
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
had a similar experience. I definitely think the Xbox pre-orders were much more hectic than the PlayStation, just in the sense of like, again, like everyone knew that they were going to go up.
Yeah.
So, everyone's just like planning for it. And also I feel like that just like the numbers available for the console were a lot less than the PS5. Like, when I went to my local GameStop where I did get to pre-order my PS5, they said that they got, I think, 9 or 10 consoles total or something like that.
Yeah, I think that
between
lines up with what Mario 64 said. 10
that's what I was
discs.
hearing.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
disc and 2 discless.
Yeah, while the series, the Xbox, was not significantly less, but it was less than that. Like the place where I properly tried to wait in line and get one, they had when they opened. I don't know if they it was less because some of the associates pre-ordered their own before opening the doors, but there was 5 X's and 1 S.
That's
So yeah.
crazy.
It was rough. But I got my X pre-order on Amazon earlier today, like right when it went up. Warrior 64 was like, "Oh, it's alive," and I'm like, "Well, I'm ready." So,
Yeah. Same
so
here.
now I'm just trying to wait for the same thing with the S, just so I can have my pre-orders on both on the same site. But I do have an S pre-ordered over on Best Buy, so worst case scenario, I'm walking away with both today, but just not where I particularly wanted to pre-order them.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Vinny, do you have
Refreshing that name page, seeing that dog.
Yeah. Oh God, that was the worst. Do you have anything to say, Vinny, about the pre-order? Which one was worse?
Yeah, I feel bad for everyone involved because it definitely sucks not getting the thing you want the most. So I just my heart goes out to all the people who couldn't score today, and hopefully there's talk of doing another wave of pre-orders, so hopefully people can get lucky there.
Yeah,
there'll definitely be more pre-orders along the line, but it's just they're gonna come out of nowhere. So, and you don't really know when your local shops are getting if they ever get any more allocations either, which makes it a little difficult. But if I do end up going to GameStop, my local GameStop, leading up to launch, I'll just ask like, hey, do you have any more Series X pre-orders or Series S pre-orders? Because I would like to pick them up like the night they come out. Because I don't know, it's just like something I always like doing with new consoles.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. Waiting for the UPS guy to drop off the package from either like a Best Buy or a Amazon sucks, especially if like the boxes they're not taking care of the package. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't throw my new Xbox, please.
Yeah, but I paid good money for that. Please don't throw it around. I do think that, like Ryan said, that this was probably more hectic than the PS5 pre-orders. Like everybody said, just because everybody knew the specific time and date, instead of being randomly thrown. Hey, we're doing pre-orders now, so get to a store or get on the website. It was a surprise to me that Microsoft's website was down for like a good 4 hours when pre-orders went live, and I was like, "Ugh, that doesn't look like a good sign for them because this is their console." But I guess it makes sense because everybody's probably heading over to them.
Crash the site.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Amazon.
Yeah, but Amazon took forever to put theirs up, didn't they?
It did, but because of that, I think it was sturdy for that time it was up. Like
Yeah.
Target had the thing where if you added it to in your cart or you reach maximum size, Walmart crashed. Best Buy had weird cart issues too.
And I think that's Best Buy's had that for this and also for the the graphics cards from Nvidia last week, which was yeah. I think let's just jump into the big topic. Microsoft buys Bethesda for 7.5. Sorry, not Bethesda, ZeniMax, which is Bethesda's parent studio. Parent company. For $7.5 billion in cash. This is insane. And I don't like my brain couldn't wrap the thought of Microsoft buying Bethesda because like they couldn't even chip out some money for Square Enix for the Avengers deal, which I kind of it makes sense. Like they were probably saving their money up for this. But like I woke up and I saw that and I was like, holy shit, this just changed the game.
We can't buy Moon Knight. We gotta buy Bethesda.
Cameron, what did you think about this news?
Yeah, so I woke up, I woke up probably like 2 hours after the news already came out because I live on the West Coast and everyone just likes to announce all the big news at like 6 a.m. on Pacific time. And I'm like, I hate it so much. But, I woke up and like, I think it was like, my fiance just told me about it. And like, I kind of had to do like a double take, like, wait, what? Just like, wait, Bethesda was acquired by Xbox? And so I like looked into it and I was just like, wow, this is insane. And it's funny because apparently like there was this article like back in I think it was like March or May of this year, like a rumored article that Xbox was looking to buy Bethesda, but there was like no one really took it seriously. So that's actually really funny in hindsight. And I think I definitely think it's great. It definitely is like out of like super big major studios, Bethesda I think makes the most sense. Being acquired by Xbox, I've always seen Bethesda more as an Xbox type studio because of I don't know, like I've always found like the Elder Scrolls like more connected to Xbox, and I've always like seen like Dishonored more attuned to Xbox and things like that. So it's crazy. It's really awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what projects they're going to be working on because it very much feels like Bethesda's still doing exactly what they're doing, but now they're just an Xbox studio, which which always felt like the case for basically all of Xbox's other studios that they've acquired, like Obsidian and Ninja Theory, that they're still doing their own thing, but now they have Microsoft money, which is cool for sure. So I'm looking forward to it, to seeing what they have next, and like now having all the Bethesda games on Game Pass with EA Play on Game Pass now too, like or coming to Game Pass, it's just like I don't know, like again, I'm an Xbox guy, and even before like kind of like these big things, I've always thought that Xbox, not always thought, but like since like Game Pass, basically, I've felt that Xbox has the most value when it comes to gaming. Like if someone were to ask me, if I was like working at GameStop and someone said like, "Oh, which console should I get?" If I could get one console, I'd say you should get an Xbox because you can buy an Xbox for like $200, and for next gen $300, you get a year of Game Pass and you're good. Like you know what I mean? Like especially for those that aren't like us who are looking into the gaming news, waiting for every big release coming out. So for me, that's how I felt about Xbox for a while. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Bethesda does, and I I'm I don't the main thing that I'm curious about right now is what they specifically mean with what games are gonna potentially come to other platforms. Because they're like, oh, it's a case by case basis. I'm like, no, it should it should always be exclusive to Xbox console wise, and it's also on PC because then why would you get these studios for first party support. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, yeah, you could sell like Elder Scrolls 6 and like Starfield on PlayStation 5, but what, like, you're losing potential customers to buy an Xbox for Game Pass or to buy those games specifically. You'd get more money in the long run, I would think, you know? Because even if people are like, oh, I don't want to buy an Xbox, I'll just buy it on PC. Cool, you're still buying it on PC. You're still giving Microsoft that money. Like, so for me, like, I really hope that when it comes to this whole exclusivity stuff, that like it's just it's on Xbox, it's on PC, and that's where it is. It's not coming to PlayStation because that doesn't make any sense to me. I could see like some things coming to Switch, kind of like, you know, how Doom and Doom Eternal came to Switch and things like that, but I don't know. But I'm at this point, like, yeah, I think the Bethesda acquisition is incredibly huge and smart of Xbox, and my only real the only real omission I see in Xbox's lineup now is just a major Japanese studio. And I know that some people say like, oh, they have Tango now, who makes like the Evil Within, but I don't consider them like a major Japanese developer. So I think like outside of that one big omission, like Xbox has a really stacked first party lineup now. So
I would have to agree with them having a stacked lineup. Now we're going to get more into the future Bethesda games being on other consoles as a case by case basis. But Ryan, what did you think of this deal?
Well, I like him. I'm a West Coast boy, so I woke up a little late to the news as well. I checked the group chat, and it's just a flame. I'm just like, oh god, what has happened? Oh, Bethesda's been bought by Xbox. That doesn't feel real when you say it out loud. That of things of in gaming that have happened, this is one of the biggest things that I can remember happening in a very long time.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest news story this year.
Yeah, and it's been a stacked year for gaming.
Yeah, it really has.
Like last week we got such an amazing announcement, and now this, I'm like, what is happening? But I think this is definitely a great play for Xbox. I think, like he said, they had a stacked lineup to begin with. This really helps flesh that out, though.
Yep.
With now they have the big open world RPG aspect and all that. I definitely think keeping them exclusive is probably what they're going to do and the right play for that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that talk in a little bit. But other than that, I think it was genius by them. It was a great play. It's kind of what it was the short in the arm Xbox needed after losing Halo. Well, not losing Halo, but having Halo get pushed back with such bad press being on Xbox's side for the past couple of months.
Yep.
Like they needed a shot of adrenaline in the arm, and this was the perfect one to do. Like I have a friend, he has been a Sony guy his whole life, PS1 to PS4, never owned an Xbox. He texted me, he's like, there's a few times that I'd ever say I will buy something. And these are the exclusives that will get him to buy a Series X. He was like, yeah, when Elder Scrolls 6 launches, I'll definitely be getting it so I can play it. And that automatically proves to me that, okay, this was the perfect play for them to make.
Yeah. I said it in the group chat and I'll say it again. This was a huge power move that Microsoft did, and I think they really needed it because this generation, let's just put it out in front. I think this generation, they could have done better. But I think with this and the lineup that of studios that they already have, I think this will definitely put them neck and neck with Sony. In the sense of, let's hope that most of the games that Bethesda has been working on will be exclusives for Xbox or PC. But I think if they stick to it being exclusives, then yeah, this is gonna definitely get them neck and neck with Sony. They just need to. Well, I guess we need to see more of what their other studios are working on that quadruple A exclusive.
My only fear is that I'm going to be honest here. I don't think Bethesda's put out a good game in a while now. Like, I think that studio has been slacking. Fallout 4 wasn't that good. 76 was one of the biggest gaming disasters of all time. Their side studios, Arcane and id, put out great games. But that core, what people, when you say Bethesda, people don't automatically think of Doom and Dishonored. They think of Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and those haven't been really doing that great lately. Like, you can continually port Skyrim, but for how long? It's on everything. I'm pretty sure my fridge can play it.
Yeah, well, they'll be porting that game forever. I would be surprised if they didn't say, "Hey, Skyrim is coming to next gen consoles anytime today or this week."
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that. Launch day game, Skyrim like enhanced edition.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that.
Vinny, what did you think of this deal?
So I'm a big old Sony pony. So my first reactions were definitely like I was upset, I was hurt, and I also have to give like Microsoft the most applause because like this buying studios is always like a tricky thing. This is something that is going to have ripples for decades to come. Like this is the most power move they have ever done as a company. So like from a consumer's perspective, I'm kind of upset. Like from a business perspective, I think this is like one of the best moves they've ever made as a company. Because like you were saying, I've been PlayStation my whole life. I am more closer to getting an Xbox now than I've ever been before, and Bethesda is a huge part of that.
Yep.
So that just speaks to the volume of their catalog and how like a big move this is really going to have. That we're really not going to see the fruits of this for 2 to 3 years from now. But I think when it does start to hit, it's really going to pick up their momentum in like ways we can't even fathom right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
With the case-by-case basis of future Bethesda games, Cam, you had said that they should be exclusives. I don't know if that's... I don't think that they should. And I think that it makes more sense for them to keep... I wouldn't say keep all of them, everywhere on PS4 or on PlayStation, on Nintendo. Just keep specific ones exclusive, like the big ones exclusive. Elder Scrolls 6, definitely keep that as as exclusive because that's going to sell the hardware that you want. But I think if they were smart, that they would definitely have some games on PlayStation 5. But the other side of that question is, will PlayStation actually have that? I know that they have. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that like Xbox isn't publishing any of Bethesda's games. Like they've said that Bethesda's still going to publish all their games, which I'm not sure if that was like Xbox's like term, like an Xbox term in the deal, or like a Bethesda term in the deal, because like, yeah, they paid $7.5 billion, but then if a part of the deal is like, oh yeah, and we don't have to publish your games for you, yeah, sure, that saves us a lot of money too. So I really don't. I feel like that might have been kind of like a what's the word? It's something that that Bethesda had to require to be a part of the deal for Xbox to acquire them. Which I feel like that's more of a win for Xbox on top of already acquiring all those studios. But like for me, like if they were to not make all their games exclusive, then it would be the bigger. To me, I would think it would be the bigger titles that they would make multi-platform, because that would just, people would buy it more. But again, like with the Series S, like being $300, I'm not saying like $300 isn't a lot of money, but what I'm saying is like, when those titles eventually come out, it'll be a few years. Like there might be a slight price drop, like things like that. That it's just like if you don't have a PC, then yeah, get this new console for like $250, and then you can play those games, and then you have access to Game Pass, and it's just like, and then you get those people that were on Sony's side for so long into the Xbox ecosystem, and then they realize like how much value the Xbox that Xbox has. Like, I know some people like recognize it without having an Xbox, but then there are others that just like, not saying like that they're stubborn, but they like just like don't believe it until like they experience for themselves. But but yeah, I think the smart move would to make everything exclusive. Like they paid so much money for those studios, and like if they were to make them multi-platform, then for me it would be what would be the point in actually acquiring them at that point, in my opinion. Like you could easily make a deal with Bethesda to like have their games on Game Pass or something like that without actually acquiring them to get those same benefits. So for me, like if they're acquiring these studios, it's for them to be exclusive to Xbox.
That's I would have to agree with you, but I think the only way that they could probably make their money, the $7.5 billion back quicker, would be to put it out on all platforms.
I definitely think you're right about that. I think that it would make it faster, but also like Microsoft is a $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
While $7.5 billion is a lot, obviously, but for Microsoft, it's just like
chump change.
Yeah, it's chump change, and like even after Bethesda's like acquiring acquisition, I was just like, I think they're done. Like I don't think they're gonna really try and acquire like many, if any, more studios. And then just today, like the CEO is just like, we're still looking at more studios to acquire, and Phil Spencer's like, we're looking at more. I'm like, because they can do that. They're Microsoft.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for me, it's just like the purpose that the direction that Xbox is going is that they want people to be able to play like on Xbox, on PC, on on their phone through xCloud or tablet and stuff like that. But like, while PlayStation is like completely like you have to pay ticket of admittance to get into what PlayStation has to offer. So for me, like, it would just make sense that to find Xbox more attractive to Sony people, you got to give them the same treatment that they get at Sony. Oh, you want to play this game, you have to get the ticket of admittance. Granted, there's more access to like with this ticket with the other platforms that Xbox has with PC and xCloud, but you can't do it unless you like have a PC or and buy our game, or if you have an Xbox, so I don't know. I just feel like that's gonna be the way that they go about it. I know that they say it's case by case basis, but I think in reality, I don't think that there's going to really be any games like after Deathloop. I don't think that there's going to be any games that are coming to PlayStation personally.
Yeah. Is there a date for Ghostwire Tokyo?
No.
Okay.
I believe it's Q1 next year. I believe it had a date, and then it got pushed.
Yeah, and they have a year timed exclusivity on PlayStation, and Xbox has already said that they're honoring that agreement with PlayStation. So
yeah,
which is fine with me. I'm looking forward to Deathloop, but it's something I can wait on. I don't need to wait. I don't need to play it this year or right when it comes out on PlayStation 5. I can wait for it to hit Xbox.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think about this future Bethesda games being on other consoles?
I definitely agree that they should be exclusive. Like, as much as I know that's a somewhat anti-consumer thing for the PlayStation people who have been waiting for these games and everything, I definitely think it's the right play for Xbox, and it's what they need. It's really badly what they need right now.
Yep.
They just they don't have games. That's at the end of the day. You have Games Pass with hundreds of games, but they don't have new exciting games. Like when you look at the two, even the launches of the consoles, Xbox does not have anything they're launching with. They need things to get in the next couple of years. They will need things to fill in the gaps between their major studios, because I don't see we see that AAA game 2023 probably, that quadruple A game.
Yep.
And then hopefully Halo next Christmas and Fable sometime in the year after that, and then put Bethesda games in there to intermix it, help you really be able to get by. I think that's why they acquired this. I think this is a great studio to get that hype for your console and get that hype for people for Xbox and that Xbox ecosystem. As Elder Scrolls will do that. Fallout, was it Starfield, right?
Yep.
I get Starfield and Star Citizen confused. And I also think because Xbox has such a vast ecosystem that you can play on, especially because of PC, I don't think this is as bad as it could have been if it was like, let's say 360 era, if they just bought up Bethesda when like Elder Scrolls Oblivion came out.
Yep.
I definitely think because it's on PC, people will be able to play these games. A lot more people than I think a lot of people online when this first came out and people were angry were not really thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to play it on your Sony box, but these games will be in places you will probably be able to play.
Yeah.
And I also think it's very good, very well of them to be keeping Deathloop and Tokyo Ghostwire exclusives, keeping good on that, because I think if they didn't, that'd be just bad press to add to this.
Yeah.
Which is, at the moment, just press. It's a great news for Xbox fans, Xbox people. Like Vinny said down below, he was a little angry when he first heard the news and stuff. He gets it on a business front.
Mm-hmm.
But people are angry.
Yeah. I definitely did see a lot of Sony fans angry at the news, but like, it is what it is. Like, there's nothing you could really do about it. That's just how the world works. Like, things get bought, people do business deals all the time. I'm sure Bethesda probably had come up to Sony and asked them, like, listen, we're looking to get bought out. Are you guys interested? And I'm pretty sure PlayStation was like, no, we're good. We appreciate you guys, but I don't think
I don't even think it's necessarily a case of them not wanting to. They just couldn't, even if they tried. Like,
well, yeah, but
I don't know many companies who can just throw $7 billion around.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the situation. I don't think they would have went up to Sony. Like, they're not going to be like, hey, can you outpay Microsoft for all of our studios?
Right.
But yeah, because this is kind of the thing that I've been trying to get people to put into perspective, is that like Microsoft is like a $7 billion is a $1 trillion company,
yeah,
and
Sony's not,
and Sony is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't think gaming is as big of a importance to Microsoft comparatively to PlayStation with Sony. But yeah, Sony as a company is only worth $74 billion. So that's like, so when you put that perspective, like, I don't remember how much they paid to acquire Insomniac.
I could find out right now.
I'm doing it right now.
I'm gonna guess like
$229 million. Like, think about, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, honest, like, now that I think about it, like, Insomniac should have got paid way more. But
and I'm like, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, I was just like,
yeah. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, like that is not a lot. They got paid. They spent $229 million to acquire Insomniac, and that's just one studio. Granted, a very good studio.
Yeah.
But again, they basically paid for the Ratchet and Clank IP, Spider-Man, which is not saying Spider-Man isn't a lot, but and that's kind of it. Like, Insomniac doesn't really have any other franchises outside of that. But then like, for $7.5 billion, you got the Elder Scrolls, you got Doom, you got Fallout, you got Wolfenstein, The Evil Within, like all of the Arcane games. Like it's just
And
it's
it
insane.
doesn't just extend to games, because you also have to imagine they also now have the rights to the Fallout show and all those other stuff being developed too. So
Yep.
compared to like
that.
Insomniac, which is just a game studio, Bethesda was branching out into books, movies, all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not just the games, it's the IPs themselves.
Yeah, and like now that the opportunities that like other studios have, now that Bethesda, like Xbox's other studios have, now that Bethesda's a part of everything, like for all the shooters, they can use like the ID tech that they use for Doom, which will make like all of Xbox's first-person shooters be like insanely smooth. And like Obsidian, they can make New Vegas 2 realistically now. Like that is a possibility, which is I know a lot of people want.
Yep.
And yeah, they just have like so many great RPG studios now that like, dude, like, oh god, Xbox is gonna kill it next gen. They're just gonna kill it. Like for me personally, I enjoy PlayStation. My main issue with PlayStation personally is that like all they really have is exclusives, and I know that exclusives is a lot for some people, and exclusives are important to a certain degree, but like that's all that they have that interests me. Like they don't have other reasons for me to be excited about getting a PS5. Like, when that PS5 showcase ended, it actually gave me less reasons to get a PS5 at launch because it was going to because all I was going to plan on getting at launch was Miles Morales, and they're like, "Oh, Miles Morales is cross-gen now." Oh,
Yeah.
so you're telling me I don't have to buy a PS5 now?
I
But I
mean,
did it. But I did it anyway because I knew that they were going to be a pain in the butt to get in the coming months.
okay.
So that's why I got it still, and I'm going to play the PS5 version of the game. But like, because like with all the other, because the thing is that like outside of Final Fantasy 16, which even though it hasn't been confirmed, I'm 99.9% certain that is a timed exclusive. Like
Way.
all the other timed exclusive games,
Okay.
I saw, I was like, I can wait for this to come to Xbox. I don't need to play this on PS5 right when it comes out. So that
I don't think it's ever coming to Xbox.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna have. I don't think it. Me and Ryan don't think that it's ever gonna come to Xbox.
what
I
Final
think.
Fantasy 16?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16. I don't buy it.
You're insane. You're insane to think. You're insane to
Are
think.
we insane? Because the way
Yes.
that Square and Sony have been lately with the Spider-Man stuff with for Avengers, I think that Sony's like, listen,
That's one character, but
that
like
yeah,
the
but like
next entrant, the next entry to arguably the biggest JRPG franchise in the world. No, I'm sorry.
Look at Street Fighter V. I thought that would have happened by now, and it's still not
Street
there.
Fighter V was different because Sony directly helped with the development of that game.
They paid a lot of money
So
for that.
That is true.
For that one's a little bit different. I was surprised at the time that Street Fighter V was a console exclusive, though. I will say that. But once I found out that Sony actually helped with the development end of things, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
makes sense, yeah.
But yeah, like it. I don't know. It's just like it's like imagine. I mean, it's hard to. I know that we don't know for certain, but like, yeah, imagine if Bethesda wasn't wasn't acquired by Microsoft and they got console exclusivity for Elder Scrolls 6. You'd be like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like that's way too big of a game to do something like that. You know what I mean? Without being like a first party title. So like for me,
Yeah.
and I get the timed exclusivity because they did the same thing with 7 Remake, and that's probably what they're going to do with the other Final Fantasy 7 entries down the line. It'll come out first on PlayStation, give it a year, and then it'll come to Xbox. But like Final Fantasy is way too big of a franchise to pay for exclusivity. Like you would have to pay like an absurd amount of money. Like at that point, the amount of money they would probably have to pay to get that exclusivity, they would probably that's probably like around how much they paid to get Insomniac. You know what I mean? That's like so much money that's like, why not use that money to get another studio, like acquire Bluepoint, you know, because they've been working with Bluepoint a lot. So like for me, I would be absolutely shocked. I'll be like, Ruben, you were completely right. I will tweet that out. Like I'll be like, well, goddamn, Ruben, you got me. If Final Fantasy 16 ends up being a permanent console exclusive, but right now I'm saying you're absolutely crazy to say that.
I have one word for you, and I'm really shocked that you have not brought this up. Well, 2 words. Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts was multi-platform.
Kingdom Hearts. Okay, let me rephrase. Kingdom Hearts when it first came out.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but Kingdom Hearts. Okay, all right. You're right about that, but
we're getting into the nitty gritty now.
We are getting into the nitty gritty. I'm gonna say right here, right now, I'm betting you $5 that Final Fantasy 16.
I will easily put down $5. I'll easily put down $5.
Okay.
Here's another thing that makes me think that it's a timed exclusive, because they haven't said yet that it is not a timed exclusive. If they would have said it like out the gate,
but it did. I mean, it said it right in the thing.
But the thing is that Deathloop had the exact same end thing, where Deathloop is a timed exclusive. So I'm telling you.
Okay. All right. You're right.
I got one thing for this.
What's up?
And that is, Microsoft has had a lot of trouble in Japan throughout the entirety of its gaming existence, especially with the Japan studios. I could definitely see Sony taking a foothold there, which it looks like they've been doing over the past generation, to get these games timed exclusive,
and
all that kind of.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but like the thing is that Xbox, Phil Spencer has said like numerous times that he is trying really hard to grow a market in Japan, and like, you know, Sony is a Japanese company, like, you know, of course it's going to do well in Japan.
Have a foothold, yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. But like, you know, in the past, especially in the 360 area, like they did try and like do that. They like they have you know, not at the time, like they had like numerous like exclusive JRPGs that were really, really good, but just didn't get a foothold, like Lost Odyssey.
Shout out Blue Dragon.
Love Blue Dragon.
The Dragon.
Yeah, like Lost Odyssey and Tales of Vesperia. You know, that was a Xbox exclusive for a very like beloved JRPG franchise at the time. You know, still now, but like, you know, that's kind of wild to think about. That was an Xbox exclusive until the remasters came out, which I bought, but I still haven't played. And yeah, so I that's the thing. That's the main thing that I wanted to talk about. I'm actually going to write an editorial about it that'll probably come out later this week. About that's like the one big omission that Xbox has now with their first party lineup, is that they need one big major Japanese studio. And I was like kind of like looking at all the big studios, and you know, most of them are either acquired by Sega, like Atlas, or acquired by Square Enix, or Square Enix. You know what I mean? Like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you know, like Square Enix cannot be touched. I do even with the amount of money that Microsoft has, I would literally like not know what to think anymore. Like anything is possible. Anything is possible if Microsoft somehow acquired Square Enix. I just don't know how I would react.
If anybody acquired Square Enix, my brain would explode.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the same way with Sega. Like Sega's too big. I just like, you can't touch those things. So the only two big Japanese studios I can think of that Xbox could potentially acquire is Platinum, which it has already been said that they visited Platinum and they passed on acquiring them, which is interesting. I want to know the story about that. But like, so there's Platinum, and then, which is the one I think they are going to look at getting, is From Software. I think From Software is going to be acquired by Xbox sometime down the line because they're because yeah, and people are like, oh, what about Bloodborne and Demon Souls? I'm like, what about them? Like, they studios partner with first party all the time. Like Insomniac partnered with Xbox last gen, and now they're acquired by Sony. Like, that means nothing, you know. So I think that they're going to acquire FromSoft because, it already seems like that they have some sort of partnership with marketing partnership for Elden Ring once that officially gets revealed, because they showed that off at the Xbox conference. So could you and we don't know what platform that's coming to yet. So what if they reveal Elden Ring for the first time next year at E3 or whatever, and then at the very end it's console exclusive, Phil Spencer comes out and says, we have acquired From Software. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? This is my my dream, not a dream, but this is my ideal prediction, you know what I mean? In a perfect world, this is what would happen. Because that would be insane. Yeah. And From Software isn't owned by anyone, because Demon Souls was originally published by Atlas, and then Dark Souls is done by Bandai Namco. Sekiro was done by Activision, different publishers. So they just kind of go to where whatever's best for them. And or at the very least, what if Xbox is publishing Elden Ring potentially? Even if it was, even if it did go to PlayStation as well, still that would be pretty big. And then if if From Software is hesitant or something like that, okay, well, how about we publish the game for you, and if you like the experience that you have with us, let us buy you out.
I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
I'm just saying that.
No, I get.
My point is just Xbox needs a big Japanese studio. Tango is not big enough. Granted, it can grow bigger now that they have Microsoft money, but they are not big enough, and I don't think that they're a big enough name to turn heads. But again, and with Platinum not on the table apparently, From Software is the only other big developer that I can think of that isn't owned by someone already. So I don't know. You just got to go by trial of deduction. You know what I mean? Until you get to the last studio.
Let's give it a couple months. I'm sure we'll hear something. Some rumors pop up about who's being acquired by who next. In a couple days after this.
Yeah, for sure.
Vinny, I wasn't sure if I asked you what you thought about the future Bethesda games on a console by console basis. I mean, on a game by game basis for multi-platform.
Honestly, I'm on both sides of it, because it does make sense. If you're going to spend that kind of money, you want it to be exclusives. But what I think the reason people have warmed up so much to Microsoft is the fact their partnership with Switch, and the fact that things like Minecraft and Ori and Cuphead and all these different games have people are already under the assumption that eventually Game Pass is going to come to Switch, and they have no issues with that. So it definitely makes more sense for them to keep it exclusive. But me personally, I think what the smarter move would be is to kind of lock off certain ones. And it's hearing the conversation, I've gone back and forth, because initially I was like, cool, make Elder Scrolls 6 multi-plat, and then make New Vegas 2, make that the Xbox exclusive, because they know that's the fan favorite, that's the one that's gonna sell. And I'm still kind of going back and forth if maybe they'll do the reverse, and they'll give Fallout 76 2, that's multi-plat, but if you want the real Fallout, then you have to buy Xbox. So I do think there is an argument to make of them kind of giving PlayStation gamers these kind of little taste samples, because the whole reason people are upset about losing these franchises are the fact that they already know what they are. They're already invested in these franchises, and if you just cold take it away, it's all right, I'm not gonna buy an Xbox. I don't have the capital or I just don't want to, all right, that franchise is dead to me. But if you give them little taste bites of just enough that it keeps them engaged with the franchise, there are going to be, all right, well, I don't want the inferior version or I don't want the knockoff. I want the big next mainline title one. And for that I'm going to invest into an Xbox because that's the only place to get it. So yeah. I think it makes the most sense for it to be pure exclusives. But I think if they, like you said, if they pepper it out, or again, like, or even if they do small things like, hey, we're going to do multiplayer. That's on PlayStation, but the whole story campaign, that is only on Xbox. I'm sure they can do little ways like that to at least get people's like foot in the door, like that it entice them a bit more than just fully locking off the content, because I think that's just going to instinctively turn off people that they're not going to care about those specific franchises anymore.
I think, time is going to tell whether or not all the games are going to be exclusive or all of the games are going to be multi-platform. The thing I wanted to bring up next was Bethesda hasn't had a great track record lately with video games. Like Ryan brought up before, Fallout 76, for all intents and purposes, it was a failure. Fallout 4 was okay. It was just okay. I'm not really too familiar with all the other titles that they had. Not titles. What's the word I'm looking for? All the other
studios?
Say it again.
The studios?
Studios?
No, all the other studios. I guess the studios, but all the other games that they have. Like, I just know them for
IPs.
IPs. There you go. Thank you very much. Really bad brain fart. Yeah, I'm not really, informed on all their other IPs, but I think that I'm hoping that Microsoft has the ability to push them to make their games better. I guess. Like, when I think of Bethesda, I think of, oh shit, it's the new Fallout game that they're probably going to be making is it going to be more along the lines of Fallout 3, or is it going to be more along the lines of Fallout 76? And I'm hoping that the future games that Bethesda puts out will be along the lines of Fallout 3, in the sense of, everybody has... when you talk to somebody about Fallout 3, nobody has anything bad to say about it, really. But when you talk about Fallout 76, people know, there's heartache there, I guess. Cam?
I don't think we're getting a proper Fallout entry anytime soon, unless it's made by Obsidian, which they got their own big old fantasy RPG that they're working on right now. Yep. I would not expect Fallout anytime soon. Because
Well, I'm just saying, in general, for their IPs,
I mean, I don't know, because here's the thing. Fallout 4 was it just for in general purposes, intents and purposes, it was still a very good game. It just wasn't what people wanted. It wasn't Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas for people. Which is totally fine. But it was definitely a good game. It was a well-developed game. So with that in mind, Starfield is what they're making next. We already know that. And so it's going to be a new IP, but again, with Microsoft's budget and it seems that Xbox is really open to them taking their time to getting their games out and getting them in a place where they're happy with releasing it. It won't be rushed or anything like that.
See,
like how Fallout 76 felt when they released that it wasn't really ready to go. I'm not too worried about Bethesda right now.
See, okay. The issue is time is so fluid right now, but I can't remember if it was before or after the acquisition, but they basically came out and they were saying that Starfield is on a slightly enhanced version of the engine, but it's still the same engine they've been rocking for a while. And I am wondering, like, just because they have the capital to do so, I'm still a little hesitant if they're actually gonna fully upgrade the engine and like how like Starfield is already at best 2-3 years away, and like I can't imagine them, even though they have the capital now, wanting to essentially start from scratch with a new engine.
No, and I think that's kind of one of the attractive features of Xbox's first party stuff is that, like, unlike EA, for example, Xbox isn't forcing the teams to use a specific engine for their games. It's just like, hey, do what you do.
Yeah.
You just have our money, and as long as you're not like, screwing us over, which why would they? Then we're good to go. So, but like, there's EA who had them, BioWare make Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda in their Frostbite engine, which is meant specifically for first-person shooters. Like,
Yeah.
Instead of using like Unreal 4 or something like that, that is a lot more beneficial for the type of games that they're making. So yeah, I'm not really worried about any of that. I do like I do agree that, like, I hope that it would be nice if they did like some sort of relative upgrade to the engine that they're using for Starfield, just because, like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like when it comes to Bethesda, when you're playing a Bethesda game,
Yeah.
but not in a good way.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's normally due to like the visuals and the engine use and like the engines that they use and things like that. So.
Yep.
And I was gonna say, and also worst case scenario, if like for some reason Elder Scrolls is a flop. I mean, I'm Obsidian doesn't miss with their RPGs. Mm-hmm. So so for me, I'm just like, cool. If Elder Scrolls doesn't work out for some people, you'll have Avowed to play, and Avowed will definitely come out before Elder Scrolls 6. So yeah.
See, that's the biggest kind of quote unquote question mark for me is I was all for the way they've been marketing Obsidian, like basically not necessarily a ripoff, but we're the new Bethesda, we're our games are this, like they're basically making their Skyrim ripoff, and we're all assuming, all right, they're gonna Bethesda's gonna get a new engine and all this thing. And my main thing for me is, if Obsidian was already the Bethesda ripoff, and now you have Bethesda, it does make me wonder, how do you market that studio differently if you already have the original? Because the assumption is that Starfield and Elder Scrolls, they're gonna fix the engine, they're gonna make the gameplay better. It does leave Obsidian in this weird place of, oh, we launched our Skyrim ripoff, but we can just have everyone on Obsidian work on Elder Scrolls 6. So I am kind of confused how they make that, like, what the studio's identity now becomes.
I would say that in general, Obsidian's RPGs are a lot more like tabletop heavy in its mechanics compared to really any other RPG developer. So it's kind of just like more of that traditional RPG experience that you get from Obsidian. Like just coming from playing the Outer Worlds specifically, it's that's kind of like the things that Obsidian does the best with their RPGs. It's really hard to explain, but from playing both Obsidian's RPGs and Bethesda's, they are very distinctly different from each other. I just think that just because, like, Obsidian, even though Obsidian has made plenty of other great RPGs, just because they did make Fallout New Vegas, and some people, there are a lot of people that will like ride and die that game is better than Fallout 3. That they just have, people just gave Obsidian that kind of comparison to Bethesda, that they're just like, a lesser Bethesda or like another type of Bethesda studio, when that really isn't the case. But I understand like where people get that that misconception from. But yeah, I think that Obsidian and Bethesda, while at face value look very similar, they just, I think from a mechanic standpoint, are very different from each other.
I was also going to say, I think that it could be like how Call of Duty is, that all the multiple studios help
And
out and
tag team it?
yeah. I would say like, yeah, they could tag team it or also, collaborate with each other on pretty much everything that they make. So it could be something like that. I don't have the answers to that question though.
Wasn't the whole marketing behind Outer Worlds was like "fuck you, Bethesda"?
Yeah,
for lack of a better term.
That's what it
Wasn't
felt
that
like
the
to me.
whole marketing like for that game?
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me.
Okay, I'm just making sure I forgot something.
Yeah,
Because I didn't forget something. Because that's what it always felt like to me was when they were developing that game and when they were showing it, it was we're doing what you can. You don't have the ability to do anymore. They were showing it off and stuff. This is the real Bethesda game.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I was so excited for Avowed, because it's like, oh, cool, this is gonna be their Skyrim, for lack of a better term. This is like their exclusive thing, and now it is the case of. I'm sure I know Elder Scroll has the name value, but it is a thing of if Avowed takes off, it's just very confusion of like why you would have two fantasy RPG settings. Like, it does make me wonder how much this is going to shake up their portfolio, like, especially with Obsidian, because right now they can either do the Outer Worlds 2 or New Vegas 2, and more people are going to want New Vegas 2. So it just makes me worried about the IPs that they've created.
Which is why
they're going to get overshadowed. Yeah, no, just like if they're going to go with the name brands as opposed to what Obsidian was building from scratch.
Which is why I think that they'll keep, obviously, this Avowed is going to be console exclusive and just leave Elder Scrolls multi-platform.
No.
It just, does it not make sense though, Cameron?
Because the thing is, like, also, Elder Scrolls is not coming out like anytime soon. Like,
yes,
like
it's 8 years away.
It will probably come out nearing the last year or two of this generation. If that's the same route that we're going with. So like, Avowed's going to come out probably 2022, and then it will be like another 4 or 5 years, and then we'll get Elder Scrolls 6. So by that time, it's just like, people aren't going to be like thinking about Avowed. They'll be thinking about the next Elder Scrolls, or like if there's any other like fantasy related RPG. Because don't forget, there's also Fable. Fable's coming out, and Fable is also a RPG. Yep. But like, again, like, Fable is a very different RPG in almost every way comparative to Avowed, or what Avowed looks to be in Elder Scrolls 6. So it's just like, the thing is that like RPGs, I think RPGs are the most, like, with how the mechanics and how the RPG, like how they implement the RPG mechanics of each game, like that will determine like whether a person will like the game. Like, even though someone likes Elder Scrolls, it's not a guarantee that they're going to like Avowed based off how Obsidian does their RPG mechanics, and like it doesn't guarantee that they're going to like Fable, because Fable is a completely different type of like setting. Like the it's a very humorous game, like things like that. It's a completely different minutia that like you don't get from other that like one RPG to another. So again, I just think that it's just kind of personal preference. Like, RPGs are popular, people like to play RPGs, and having more isn't necessarily bad.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I kind of see your point about how far it is. Brian, I think, what do you think of my question about, is Bethesda's Bethesda's future games gonna be better because of Microsoft?
I definitely hope so, because in my humble opinion, id Software has been carrying the back of that studio for the past generation. They did not put out a good game in this past console gen. That was from their RPG studio.
Yeah.
Like, you've put out Skyrim on literally anything you can put it out on. You did Fallout 4, which I don't know if it's just me, but I've always played those games as a Lone Ranger campaign, that kind of thing. I did not want managing a settlement game inside a Fallout game. That was not what I asked for.
I think you mean a Fallout game instead of a managing settlement game.
You're right on that one.
Yeah.
And then Fallout 76, that was one of the biggest shames I've ever seen on just bad PR in gaming.
Oh,
I owned the collector's edition of that game.
I'm sorry.
But
somewhere in this room is that helmet in that crappy bag.
I'm so sorry.
I had it all. I was at E3 that year. I was in the room when they announced that game. I was so excited. I was like, multiplayer Fallout, me and all my friends. I pre-ordered it that weekend.
Oh God.
I was sad, boys. Oh, I was sad.
Oh boy. I'm so sorry.
It was a dark time.
Yeah, it really was.
But I definitely hope Microsoft leads.
Say that one more time. You cut out. Sorry.
I definitely hope Microsoft leads them in the right direction, like helps guide them, like, hey, this is maybe lean away from this kind of thing, because if there is something Bethesda hasn't been in the past generation, it's pro-consumer, and there's something Xbox has been, it's pro-consumer.
Yeah.
Definitely help them on that front. And really just kind of leave them to their own devices, like guide them. I definitely say put some money into giving them a upgraded, or hell, even a new engine, because that engine is just getting old. That engine is been around since the PS3. It hasn't worked since the PS3. I don't know if anyone remembers when Skyrim launched on the PS3 and it was unplayable if you did one thing. For months they didn't fix it.
even beyond that, I believe the DLC was like 4 or 5 months behind too.
Yeah. No, it was that engine. Like, when people think of Bethesda games, they think of these epic epic RPGs.
Yep.
The next thing you think about when you think about a Bethesda game is the glitchiness of them.
Yeah.
The flying mammoths, the horse climbing in Skyrim, all the wacky physics. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing to think about when you're thinking about one of the biggest developers on the planet. Especially after one of the biggest buyouts now in gaming. I definitely think they need to rein that in, get a new engine, and work hard on the RPG section of it. But I think the other parts of Bethesda have been doing fantastic. Doom was one of the best games of the generation. Arcane has been doing great things with Dishonored, and I think that they will continually do things with Deathloop. Go on, Cameron.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like the thing. Like, that's the thing for me that I hope works out best for Arcane in this situation, is that Dishonored comes back, because Dishonored 2 did not sell well. And, the only reason we got Death of the Outsider was because they were already working on it after Dishonored 2. And granted, here's the thing. I bought Dishonored 2 day one, and I still haven't played it. But I paid for it. I gave them my money. I supported it because I love Dishonored 1.
That's what matters.
The first time I played through Dishonored 1, I played it without being seen and without killing people, in the same run. That's how much I enjoyed that game. And I definitely plan on playing Dishonored 2 soon. I just feel like that they decided, okay, we got to kind of move on to something new. And I'm just like, but Dishonored is so good, and it's such a unique experience that like you don't really like. There's no other games like Dishonored right now. So I really hope that, you know, with having Microsoft's pockets, they can continue Dishonored, and it ends up continuing to be successful. Because yeah, I really think that that's like one of the best franchises that Xbox has acquired outside of like the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. And, you know, obviously the behemoths that they also acquired. And yeah, I really hope that they get a second chance at bringing that franchise back to the mainstream.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, Ryan, you said the second thing that Bethesda is known for is the glitchiness. I, to this day, have purchased 2 copies of Fallout 4. One for Xbox and one for PS4, and I still have not beat it because, well, I haven't 100% it, because there is one area of the game that I am stuck in. I am physically stuck. I cannot move it. I would have to restart the game all over again, and I refuse to do that. So I just haven't touched that at all ever
The
since.
only reason I believe those games get such high praise that they do is because they have such a good community backing them that fans fix their games for them, and they need to stop that.
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny, what do you think of Microsoft helping out Bethesda with their crappy games, so to speak?
Well, I think the issue is that it's a fine line, just because, like, you know, The Witcher 3 is a glitchy mess too, and I think the difference is that Witcher is fun glitchy, where it's like, oh, Roach is on the house for some reason. But like you said, as the generation has gone on, it's gone from, okay, this is funny, these games are a little broken, to straight up, no, I can't play this game right now because like it just won't function properly. So on a certain level, I do want it to be better, but I also don't. I think like that is a certain charm of Bethesda game, so I'm hoping they can find a way to keep the silly, goofy glitchiness of it without necessarily making it just like losing its charm, for lack of a better word.
It's something that, like I said, I'm hoping that they help fix. Like, I'm sure everybody here knows that Bethesda game is glitchy, and Bethesda games have recently lost their, like, what's the word I would use?
Luster?
I guess. Yeah, exactly. Like their luster. And I'm hoping that Microsoft can throw the money at whatever needs to be done. Like, hey, you guys need some extra help coding or programming a part of the game. Hey, let's have another team help you guys out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this is a good thing for Bethesda, and I'm happy to hear that it's a good thing for Bethesda. And I'm really hoping that their next game that comes out that I will actually play is not broken, but only time will tell. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say about this topic? Because I had something and I completely forgot about what the last question was going to be.
I think we've talked a lot on this. I think we've kind of covered the bases here.
Yeah. I was going to say one quick small thing that I'm surprised more people aren't talking about. I think we forget Bethesda has been very big proponents of VR. So I'm very curious how this changes their VR strategy. And if on a certain level Bethesda will be the thing that pushes Microsoft to do a VR headset. Because right now you do have Doom, Fallout, Skyrim, all these games, not exclusive to PlayStation, but like right now, for a console player, you can only play these VR games on PlayStation. So I am kind of curious because at least right now with VR, it seems a much tight-knit community where the titles will go just kind of anywhere. So I am kind of curious if for VR2, they continue to put their VR games on PlayStation VR.
Are there VR titles not on Steam?
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most of the VR titles seem to be just anywhere. Like it's timed exclusives, but I can't think of many like hard exclusives. And I'm curious if they're going to keep that up.
Well, I think that they'll probably definitely keep them on Steam and have support for Oculus and all the other, VR headset. I think that would be a smart move for them to do because, again, if you're going to put your game on Steam, might as well also try to go for the revenue for a VR title. If you have the team for it, why not? Cam, what do you think about that?
I mean, they're still supporting. Xbox supports PC, so like with the VR stuff, if they if they continue to do that for PC, like that's perfectly fine. Like why not? Like why not if they want to? And again, Microsoft's still going to make money off of it. So I just I don't think though that like even though Bethesda's done VR stuff in the past that we'll see like any Microsoft like VR hardware anytime soon or anything like that. I think that Sony's still doing that in their own space, which is perfectly fine. And then like there's Oculus and HTC and all those different brands. But yeah, I mean like I think Microsoft is basically just cool with whatever anyone's making as long as it's coming to a platform where they're gonna make money. Like whether it be Xbox, like PC or PC. But I mean with the VR stuff, it would just all go to PC.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think about that?
I definitely think their VR team will go to PC, like Cam was saying. I also am curious. I could see in the backworks Microsoft putting out a Xbox-enabled piece of VR. I could definitely see that being a thing, getting down to works. Maybe a team up with something like Oculus or like the HTC Valve, something along those lines. A team up there, not a brand new headset along the lines of PlayStation, but a toned down one of those or a console. Because an Oculus can run on what basically is Xbox Series X hardware. Like if you built a PC out of it.
Yeah.
So I can see that coming down the line, and this definitely being a great way to show. Oh, the E3 they unveiled Starfield. Here's it running in VR.
Wait, sorry, you
kind of thing. Announced. Oh, the E3 they show off Starfield in 3 years. They also show it off in a VR headset that they announced that weekend as well. A partnership. I could definitely see that coming. I'm very interested I think that'd be a great thing for Xbox. But at the moment, just keep them on Steam. You don't really. PSVR is a success for a VR headset, but isn't a massive success in the big scheme of things.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think just keeping them on Steam will be fine for them.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? No. Okay. Cam, you had said you were writing an editorial on the Bethesda deal. Where could we find that editorial?
So I read over at DualShockers.com. It's not out yet, but I'm working on it. It should be out by the end of the week.
Okay.
So you can check out DualShockers.com, and then you can follow me on Twitter at the Cinephile Guy and twitch.tv/the Cinephile Guy.
Okay. Ryan, where could people find you?
And find me on Twitter for whatever I'm up to at RyanDeLion3055.
Okay. And Vinny, where can people find you?
Yeah, usual places: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. At ViralVinny.
Okay. And you could find me on Instagram at Penultimate Conquest and Twitch. I'm also going to stream tonight, actually, some Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/Penultimate Conquest. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. Really appreciate you taking the time out to, for an impromptu episode. I will
Hopefully once in a lifetime. I don't see anything topping this.
Well, let's not hold our tongue. The year isn't over. Okay.
2020 is wild.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft was like, "Hey, we bought Sony," but obviously that never probably happened. Obviously, just joking. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. Have a good night.
See you guys.
See ya.